Gohan, the first Saiyan human hybrid, and someone who has some of the greatest potential in terms of raw power out of anyone in the entire series. Ever since he was a child, he was showing power that even surpassed his father's, but that wouldn't be potential, would it? If that power is there and accessible, that's just how strong Gohan is. However, Gohan couldn't just use that power on demand. It requires his rage to use. So, what is Gohan's rage? What is Gohan's power? And why is it so different than anything else in the entire series? The first time we see the rage of Son Gohan is when Raditz arrives on Earth. This means almost as soon as Gohan is introduced in the series, we are shown that he is something special. When Raditz locks Gohan in his spaceship, his scouter goes off and informs the estranged uncle of a power level that almost doubles Goku's. That power being Gohan's. That was nothing though, compared to what Raditz would experience when he was torturing Goku. The screams of Goku's agony were so loud that they breached the hull of Raditz's ship and allowed the frightened toddler to hear them, clear as day. The sounds of his father being physically destroyed were enough to set this child off. He turned his fear into wrath. Raditz's scouter went off again, just as it did before, but this time he'd find a power level of over 1300 was coming from Gohan. This child had completely surpassed his father and the reincarnated Demon King Piccolo all in a matter of seconds, only requiring an emotional state to draw forth his own natural power that he didn't even have to work for. But Gohan couldn't just use this power at will after this point. Right after Gohan hits Raditz, his power level drops back down to 1. This shows that Gohan's power alters with his emotions, a sentiment that even Raditz shares. Was this some temporary rage boost that was so powerful it could make Gohan over 1,000 times stronger? Piccolo seems to understand that's not. While some rage boosts like Vegeta vs Beerus or Goku vs Goku Black and Zamasu only last for a moment and aren't indicative of one's true power in the general sense, Gohan's were quite different. When Gohan's emotions take over, he is able to use power within him that he is otherwise incapable of using. Not because it isn't there, but because he lacks the skill to do so. After taking Gohan to train him for the Saiyan threat, Piccolo remarks that he will teach Gohan how to use his power all the time, so it is no longer limited to rage-filled outbursts. At this point in the story, it's simply that Gohan lacks the ability to control his power. Despite Piccolo's proclamation that he'd train Gohan to control his power, he was unable to do so in the year before the Saiyans arrived. While Gohan did get stronger, he didn't get control over his actual power, and so Gohan's rage continued to be the main source of his usefulness going forward. The Frieza and Namek arc came and went, with a few examples of Gohan's rage coming into play, but these instances were just examples of what we'd already seen. Gohan gets mad at something bad happening and shows an extreme growth in power because of it. The most notable of these times is when Gohan attacks Frieza's second form in order to get to the recently impaled Krillin. After seeing this power firsthand, Vegeta is even aware that this is something that Gohan has within himself at all times, but he isn't fully aware of it, further confirming that this power is not some temporary adrenaline rush boost, but rather is a power that Gohan still can't use on his own despite being a more seasoned fighter by this point in the story. Though he is getting much stronger with every battle, he still cannot access that which lies deep inside himself. This leads us directly to Cell, as the androids don't really have much to do with Gohan unless we're talking about his future version, but I've already made a video covering that version of Gohan, which you can check out by hitting the I button up above. Let's get back to the topic at hand though. During the Cell arc, Goku and Gohan spent a year together in the Room of Spirit and Time. Goku on the quest to surpass Super Saiyan and Gohan there to help his father train, since training together was far superior to training in isolation. However, Goku's plans quickly changed. Going beyond Super Saiyan wasn't enough to beat this enemy since these forms had drawbacks, and simply perfecting Super Saiyan itself was almost equally useless when it came to defeating the threat at hand. So a new solution had to be made, and lucky for Goku, the answer fell right into his lap. Gohan. In the Room of Spirit and Time, Gohan had shown a glimpse of his true power when training with his father. This led Goku to the realization that if Gohan couldn't beat Cell, no one could. And really, that makes sense. Gohan was so powerful in the Cell arc that he would be relevant in the Buu arc had he kept the same power. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, with only half of his ki, was beyond even Super Perfect Cell, who says himself that he got a Super Saiyan 2-like power boost from reforming after his self-destruction. To put it plainly, Dabura, the strongest servant of Babidi, would be a joke to the preteen Gohan that bullied Perfect Cell. This is not only because Gohan turned Super Saiyan 2, a side effect of his rage, but mostly due to the fact that his rage had allowed his true power to come out as it had in the past. Gohan's power didn't merely double as some people like to boil the transformation down to. So, as I said, Goku is 100% right in thinking that should Gohan fail to beat Cell, there'd be no one else to stop that monster from doing what he wanted with the planet. However, Goku's mistake here was twofold. One, not training Gohan to control that power without the use of rage, and two, not readying Gohan's resolve when it came to killing Cell. Despite Gohan being stronger than Goku, even as a Super Saiyan 1, he still refuses to fight Cell. Killing was the wall that Gohan couldn't overcome. His own ideals and incapability of accepting that some fights must happen was the failure of Gohan that led to blind rage being necessary to assure his victory. This is the scene that truly shows us what Gohan's rage actually is. Gohan's rage is a moral breakdown. The pure adrenaline rush of rage doesn't increase Gohan's power. It instead breaks down his own mental barriers that prevent him from accessing the power that's rightfully his to use. While Gohan was telling the world that he doesn't want to fight or kill, the world was telling Gohan that fighting and killing were sometimes necessary in order to maintain peace for everyone else. If you have the power to affect and change the world in a positive way, it is your duty to do so. This was the lesson of the Cell arc for Gohan, not to be afraid of your own power, and rather embrace your power to better the world around you. Gohan becoming sadistic due to rage was to show the fault in relying on such a blinding emotion to solve problems, a realization that Gohan takes to heart as his rage and arrogance cost the life of his father. Gohan does get the chance to redeem himself in the moment though. Cell returns, now super perfect, and Gohan gets to finish him off once and for all with his own power. Vegeta's distraction blast was unnecessary for this outcome to occur, since Gohan was holding back in an attempt not to hurt the Earth, something that Goku called him out for. Once again, Gohan's mental barriers were preventing him from finishing the fight as quickly as he should have been able to. But with Goku's encouragement, he was able to finish off Cell, despite only having half of his ki left. The lessons of the Cell arc follow Gohan into the Buu arc, which is the last relevant arc when discussing Gohan's rage. In the Buu arc, Gohan finally realizes that you have to fight for what's good sometimes in order to protect the good in the world. The Great Saiyaman and the Golden Warrior are both a result of this mentality taking hold of Gohan after Cell. Be yourself while being the hero. While Gohan may have taken this mentality to the extreme, he always did his best to avoid letting his rage take over. Even after watching Spopovich beat Videl, he calms down rather quickly, and in his fight with Kibito, his transformation into Super Saiyan 2 isn't as rage-induced as the anime makes it seem. The manga shows Gohan as having complete control over the form, and he's just simply using it. Gohan is still struggling to utilize his true power without rage though. Goku even says as much when Gohan is about to fight Dabura for the second time. He tells Gohan to get angry, and that rage will allow him to beat anyone. But Gohan refuses. He is angry. He could easily unleash his wrath on Babidi and Dabura, but he can't be like he was against Cell. The mistake that cost his father's life would not be one he repeated in this battle. Nowadays, Gohan doesn't rely on any emotion to truly utilize his power. He's learned to control it on his own. He fights when he needs to and defends those he loves without the risk of becoming sadistic or arrogant in the process. This is the rage of Son Gohan, and how he learned to never rely on it ever again. Thank you so much for watching.